everyone, and welcome back to Across the Pond. This is QJ's second episode. This episode is coming to you very late in the month because we had, I guess what you would call a technical issue. I am in the middle of moving across the country. I just arrived to my home in Wisconsin, but guess who's not here? The movers with any of my stuff. But this episode was supposed to be recorded before we moved, but my husband, who left before me, took the microphone with him. So yes, you could call that a technical issue. So we couldn't record because I didn't have a microphone. So here we are. It is the end of March.
Late.
Yay! Late. And just because I've been in the middle of moving, putting everything in boxes, every time I would sit down to try and play a game or try and read a book, I'd be like, oh, I have to go talk to my landlady, or oh, I have to go return my internet modem to the people, or I have to sign boxes and stuff with moving and adult things, and I hated it, and I didn't get to sit down ever. So yeah, I didn't get very much done, but I tried. So I tried really, really hard to finish Clash of Kings, and oh my gosh, not only was moving getting in the way, but I don't know. It's kind of boring.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I forget what happens at that point in the plot. What's going on?
It's
I've seen the show, so it's
I
not
don't know.
spoilers.
So I don't know. I feel like I don't know what's going on unless I'm reading it because it's hard to like stick. Like there are some
because I don't want to be like, is this happening yet? Because then if it isn't, then I've spoiled it for you.
right. I mean, there's war.
There's always war. It's Game of Thrones. Every
I know.
war, always.
I feel like there are really good chapters, like with Arya and Sansa and even Caitlyn, where I love being in their heads and I love experiencing what they're going through as people. But then when everyone starts talking about, who's fighting whom and who used to rule before, and I'm like, all these names are so similar, and I can't figure out whose grandfather like fought in which country. I'm like, ugh. So
Yeah.
the good chapters help push me through the boring chapters.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel really unintelligent calling them boring chapters because maybe if I was smarter, I would be able to comprehend this better. But I mean,
Nah, I think it's fair. I think the show has a similar thing as well, because like in the show, it's not chapters, it's scenes, and sometimes a scene will start and you'll be like, oh no, this is this character's scene, and you'll just be like, I don't care. Like whenever Daenerys shows up, like whenever it cuts to a Daenerys scene in the show, I'm just like, I want to die.
The Daenerys scenes are starting to get really boring because all of her chapters right now are just trying to get boats, and everyone just wants her dragons. And I'm like, can something happen?
Mm-hmm.
Because she's just wandering around and people are trying to kill her, and it's not you. That sounds interesting, and it's not.
Guess when something finally happens in that plotline.
I don't know. The next book.
Never. It's always boring. Daenerys is dumb. Daenerys is trash. Everyone hates Daenerys. She's awful.
But Sansa and Arya's stories are cool because they're trying to like escape with their lives, and they don't.
Jono's pretty good.
Yeah, his stories are good. His stories are, I feel like, the only ones starting to actually deal with the mysticism of the world because like there's friggin' like zombies coming around, and there's also like I think is it Davos who's dealing with
Seaworthy, that guy. Onion Knight, love him.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. Yeah, he's dealing with a lady who's like clearly a witch, and there's like dark magic going around.
Is she? How dare you say that?
It was King Renly, got killed by a shadow, and it was all scary, and I don't know, whatever. There's cool stuff happening, but the writing style is very overwhelming and very, what's the word? It's very long-winded, and
yeah, I'll give you that.
But I'm powering through it, because the parts I do like sometimes I'll be reading a boring chapter and I'm like, maybe I should just put this book down. This series isn't for me. And then the next chapter, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Someone I can relate to, So,
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, so it's kind of hit and miss chapter by chapter. Mm-hmm. That's fair. Like I can totally see that with that whole series. It's a case of like, oh, this is happening, and I feel like it's worse with the book than the show, because with the show a scene is like not that long, whereas with the book it's like, this is a bit of reading I have to do now, and it's effort, and I don't really want to do it, but I have to get to the next bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, I didn't get a chance to finish that, but I finished a couple comic books.
Yay.
What was it? Volume 3 of Paper Girls came out last month, or was it Volume 2?
Have I read that? I've read volume 2. I don't think I've read volume 3.
I think
I
it
don't know
was
if that's
volume 2.
out.
I'm just getting the numbers mixed
Yeah.
up. It was really good. And I mean, I've expressed how much I don't like time travel because it's always messy
Yeah.
and there's no laws. And even in this, you can never predict what's going on because the writer can just be like, oh, well, this
Hmm.
is how I think time travel is. And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
There's no consistency
I love Brian
between
K.
things.
Vaughan,
Yeah.
but time travel is kind of meh. But I really like the Paper Girl story, and I love all the characters. And now we do have a story where they're dealing with, you know, when was it based? Like the 50s, and then more
Oh, I
present
don't know.
time. But so you've got characters who are thinking in a very old-fashioned way, and there's prejudices there, and there's ideals there, and then they're coming to the
Yeah.
future where they're dealing with modern day things, and not only are they like, oh my gosh, what is this? Is that what a TV is? Or like, what's this weird apple on everything? So it's cute, but
Yeah.
then they're learning about things that are going on modern day, and it's really interesting to read through because it's just a bunch of 12-year-olds, and I
Yeah.
love
I
it.
find the thing I find with Paper Girls that doesn't really happen to me with anything else is that I read it and I really enjoy it while I'm reading it, but the moment I put it down, I just forget everything that happened, and I don't know why. I just
Oh, kind of like
like
Game of
it's not that I
Thrones.
wasn't enjoying it. I'm just like that was cool, and then because now I'm trying to think. I mean, I think I read it like last month because I vaguely remember mentioning it at the end of your last episode. So it's been a while, I guess, but I
Well,
have like no
it's
memory of
strange how
anything that
some of the
happened in Volume
best
Two.
books and comic books and movies can do that. You can watch it and you're like, this is amazing, but once it's done, like it's kind of
Yeah,
done. And that's why I like to
yeah,
try and journal everything I read about, which I'm terrible at keeping up on because once I finish something, it's kind of like I move on. And I remember that I loved it, but I
yeah.
don't always remember why.
Mm,
But I mean, I love I like the art style in Paper Rolls. It's the same
yes, it's great.
artist who did the new 52 run of Wonder Woman, which I didn't really love
Hmm.
in Wonder Woman. I didn't think it fit very well, but it fits really well with Paper Girls. Pairs really well with
Yeah,
Brian K. Vaughan's writing, because
hmm
he's a genius.
he is pretty much a genius. The dude is a legend.
Yeah,
Love him.
and yeah, obviously I can't wait till Volume 3. I reread
Yep.
Volume 1 before I read the second one, just to make it fair, so that I'm reading an entire
Yeah.
series for the year, or at least starting from the beginning. I did the same thing when I got Volume 4 of Giant Days. Started with Volume 1 and reread. You don't have it yet, but
Amazon, why?
we could still watch it.
Amazon haven't.
I mean, we could still talk about it a little bit because I reread the first 3, and I'm just like, I love this series so much. Every time I reread
Oh
a
my God.
chapter, I feel like I'm watching an episode of my favorite, adult TV show. It's just so cute
Yeah.
and so much fun, and I could read every joke and every line of dialogue a million
Mhm.
times and never get
Yep.
bored of it. Like, I don't know how
Yep.
the writer did it. Like, the
Yeah,
characters
it's
are so
amazing.
relatable and so funny, and it's this perfect mix of ridiculous comedy with like realistic
Yeah.
emotion. And sometimes
Yeah,
sometimes
just
that's a problem
it's
because
so
I'm not
good.
sure always how to feel. I'm like, wait, are they joking, or is this gonna like be a long running like issue that I have to be emotionally invested in, or is this just like a throwaway
Yeah.
joke? Like, I had that issue with when Susan first like ran into McGraw and they were like, enemies,
Yeah.
blah. And then like within the course of one
I love
panel,
McGraw.
they were
He's so
like,
good.
we had sex and now we're a couple. And I'm like, wait, what? I thought they were gonna be like lifelong enemies. I'm so confused. Well, okay,
Well, it's kind of
move on.
it's almost realistic in the way that just people are like they run into each other, but then they kind of reunite over just
Yeah.
'cause don't they get really drunk together?
Yeah, they got
like
drunk
in the
at a
background
dance.
of one of the other stories. Man, I love it. Giant Days might be my favorite comic book series of all time. I absolutely adore it. It's just so beautiful, and I'm actually quite upset that I haven't read Giant Days Volume 4, and you have, and I just Amazon always go out of stock, and I
Yeah,
always forget to
we'll,
pre-order, and it's just
We'll
annoying.
we'll discuss it again. Well, no worries. You can do a
Yeah, we'll
recap
bring it up. It's fine.
next episode
I
when you
just-
finally read it.
I love it. It's such a good series.
It's wonderful. Yeah, it follows, for those of you who don't know, it follows 3 college-age girls, although it's in Britain, so it's uni.
Yeah,
And that's another thing I love
university.
about it is all the British vernacular and British slang in it that like I don't understand, and I love reading it. It's so, yeah, it's like a little bit of like a culture shock when I read it. It's cute, and they're just like going on living their lives.
Yeah, like the arcs are just so like like you'd expect a comic book arc to have like big deals and like all this stuff, whereas the arcs are like, oh, this
and I
time
think
they got ill. That's
they
it.
usually do in the past with comic books and with mangas. It's all like, action and like defeating monsters, or
High
like
stakes.
sci-fi, and or even if it's just, people in a high school. It's like, oh, we have to deal with this really big problem, and we also have to get our homework done at the same time. And it's like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
But a lot of comic series are coming out these days. I mean, and Paper Girls is kind of like that. They're just little girls on their paper route, and then they're like, oh, time travel, aliens.
I think the difference is like other things are like it's this, but Paper Girls is like they're doing a paper route, but whereas Giant Days is like there's no but. There's just they're just
the biggest
girls
deal
at uni,
is that
and it's just cool.
Esther won't go to her lectures and she's failing all her exams. But she also wants to fool around with the TA and dress like a goth. And there's a whole chapter about how there's problems when college people stay up late and then they get all goofy.
Oh my god, that's like my favorite arc. When Susan goes to the night zone.
Yeah, the night zone.
Because I've been there.
Because they have to stay up for 3 days.
So
and then it's like they morph into these night creatures and they see everything all wobbly and gooey. And I feel like
I was there like 2 weeks ago, like a week ago. It's the night zone. It's real. Like
I feel like they just
so
did that
real.
for the purpose of giving the artist something really fun to play with, because everything goes all like gooey and like soft Picasso almost, and they're like, oh, what am I doing? And then Esther comes in and she's like, I'm mad at you guys for being so irresponsible. You need to come to bed and wash your laundry.
Oh, it's such a beautiful series.
Giant Days just has great stories of,
I love it.
Girls living their lives, going through school. And speaking of that, I mentioned how manga kind of follows the same trope as like a lot of it used to be very action based, and now a lot of it's more personal. But I'm actually thinking that manga has always been, there's always been like actiony, like the categories and the more personal categories. And
do some anime.
And it's kind of still like that. There's always still people that want their anime and manga like actiony, and people who want it slice of life.
Yes.
And I am very much a slice of life reader. I love that kind of anime and that manga. And I think people actually used to make fun of people who would read manga instead of actual books, because they were kind of like the romance novels of the day. And it would just be like, oh, you're just reading silly little manga books. But so I've been reading this manga called Horimiya, Horimya. And it's called that because the girl's name is Hori and the guy's name is Miyamura. So, they do that a lot in Japan. They'll mesh the names together. And it's about this just high school girl and guy who are kind of, I don't want to say outcasts in their school, but they're kind of like, they act a certain way at school than they do, in their own homes and in their own like hearts and minds. So no one really kind of knows who they really are behind their masks. So like the girl Hori is like the popular girl. She always like has her hair down and curly, and she's wearing makeup, and she like talks to all the other girls, and she's smart and she's nice. She's not a jerk or anything. And then the guy, Miyamura, he either wears glasses or doesn't, and then he changes it later. I can't remember. But he's got like dark, gloomy hair that he wears down, and he's just like depressing and doesn't talk to anyone, and he's like, bleh, bleh, bleh. And then one day, like after school, he like sees this little kid on the street that his like fell and hurt, and so he takes him home, and it's to Hori's house, and so they meet, and they don't recognize each other because they both now have their hair up, and she's all like in her PJs and taking her makeup off, and he's like got his glasses on or off, I don't remember which one's which, and he's also got his long hair up, and you can see all his piercings, and he's got all these tattoos under his shirt because he always wears long sleeves at school, and you like cannot have tattoos in high school in Japan because you will be immediately associated with gang members. And so they look at each other and they're just like, wait, we go to school together? And they kind of like accidentally start spending time together. And it's like it's not really romantic, but it's also adorable because they just start learning personal things about each other. Like they just start eating meals together. She's like, you can come over after school if you want, like whatever. And they learn that he doesn't like the skin off his tomatoes, and she can't eat curry without carrots in it, and that her parents are separated, but she hates her father, but her father still comes around and picks on Miyamura, and Like they learn about like the music that the other person likes and like little nitpicky things, and you realize they also have like darkness in their past, which I mean every high schooler does.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason that he, pierces his own ears with push pins is because he was like bullied and depressed when he was younger. And
Yeah.
but it's another one of those things that doesn't have a big fat agenda. It's just like two people meeting, and it's kind of a will they won't they romance. And like in the middle of, I don't know, volume 4, they eventually do. They're like, yeah, I like you. Like, I want to be together. But it's not like this big deal.
Spoilers.
That,
but okay.
yeah, like you were going to read it. And it's funny because even after they get together, it's not like this big, like, sexy anime romance. It's just like they love spending time together. And then you also get some stories of the background characters or the secondary, tertiary characters and, what's going on in their lives and why they are, the way they are and maybe who they like and what they're going through. And I like when they go into background characters of animes and mangas because it takes away from the focus of the main characters and it just gives you kind of more of a world to build on and then more people to interact with. So I know this isn't saying much, but this is my new favorite manga. I love the way it's written. There's something really cool
you
about...
only read like 4.
Yeah, maybe 5. There's something really cool about the way mangas are drawn, and I can't remember what they're called, but they always have like onomatopoeias in the backgrounds. So in Japan they'll have the little symbols, can't remember what they're called, but the little Japanese letters, and they'll be floating around people's heads.
Yeah.
And they'll be stuff like if someone is writing, it'll be like scratch scratch, or if someone is like surprised, it'll be like blink or blush or like shudder or like something to go with like your angry face, or like if something crashes, it'll be like clink clink. And so not only will they have it in parentheses what the like Japanese onomatopoeia is, but then they'll have another parentheses of what it is like in English. So I'm learning all these things of like what like crash or blink would be in Japan. Like there was a point where her little brother held up something that he made and he goes, ta-da! Yeah. But in Japan, they go, jajan! So I'm like, I feel like I'm learning Japanese. It's so fun. Like, and cats, instead of saying meow, they say nya.
Yeah.
Nya, nyan, nyan, nyan. So like the Pokemon Meowth, in Japan, he's called Nyath. I love that crap. So, yeah.
That's pretty cute.
And it gives a sense of like, it makes me feel like when I'm reading it, I can actually hear everything that's going on. So I do feel like I'm kind of watching a show go on, even though I'm just reading still images. So it gives it more of a worldly sense. So that's something really cool about manga in general, but also this manga. So those are the things I've been reading. And there's like 4 volumes left of Horimiya yet to come out. I've pre-ordered all of them. Yeah. So I don't know how fast they're going to come out, but I will read them as they do. A show I watched this month is called Party Down. What?
So I'm going to be disappointed until you get to the one that I want you to have watched just for this whole episode. And if you haven't watched it, I'm going to be annoyed. So just let's keep going.
Which show? What? Oh, no, I haven't got a chance to watch that yet. You thought I was going to make an anime segue, but I didn't. I'm sorry. Kat wants me to watch an anime because she's a weeb now.
I'm not a weeb. I've watched 1 anime that I've liked.
Weeb.
2 animes that I've liked. And no, it's just this is the best anime of all time and you're wrong and just you need to watch it.
It's going to be really funny. If I watch this and I realize it's similar to all the other slice of life animes I love, you're probably going to fall in love with the genre.
Shut up. No. Anime's trash.
I watched this 2-season live-action show called Party Down. It was released on this channel called Stars, which I guess is kind of similar to HBO. I don't really know.
I've heard of Stars, but I don't.
But it was fully like
they've done. Yeah.
It was very vulgar, like not like for the sake of being vulgar, but like they said whatever they wanted and they showed whatever they wanted. So it was the type of channel they could just like have no filters. But it was really, really funny. It had Adam Scott and what was the girl's name? Gosh darn it, IMDb. Where are you?
And now we wait while KJ IMDb's a show that she watched.
It had Adam Scott and Lizzie Kaplan, who I've only ever seen her in Mean Girls.
Oh, I know her name.
Yeah, she played Janice.
I don't know her from Mean Girls, though. Where do I know her from?
I don't know.
You're on our IMDb page. Find out.
Um,
Go through her entire credits.
Lizzie Kaplan. Let's see.
Oh, where
She
do I
was
know her
in
from?
Cloverfield, The Interview, 127 Hours, Marvel One
This
Shot
is really
Item
annoying.
47,
Well,
Bachelorette.
then that's probably where I know her from. Was she what? Okay, now I'm googling her as
Yeah.
well.
Mommy with an
Lizzie
exclamation point.
Kaplan. I recognize her face. What was she in? What was she in? This is really annoying.
Have you not seen Mean Girls? That's strange.
No, I haven't seen Mean Girls. I should have, but I haven't. No, I don't. Where do I
I mean,
know
we
her
can cut
from?
this whole part out as long as you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, she's in Now You See Me Too. There we go. Okay,
Okay, yeah.
that's where I know her name. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. And Adam Scott is from Parks and Rec, and he is the cutest thing on the whole planet. And Lizzie Kaplan's a really good comedian.
Yes,
But Adam Scott's
she's good in Now You
character,
See Me Too.
yeah, he plays like kind of the everyman. He's like not as like crazy as all his coworkers. So the premise of the show is a bunch of like out of work actors who are having a really hard time getting jobs and like getting parts
Yeah.
in LA. They are a part of this catering business, and it's this like crappy catering business where they like don't do their jobs well. They keep like eating all the cheese and like drinking everyone's wine and like, you know, making out in closets on the job or like talking on their phones.
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous. Every episode has a really silly story. Every episode is a different catering job, and the boss is always like, "Okay, everybody, I have these fun little like employee motivator games that we're gonna do," and everyone's just like, "Screw you, I don't care." And it's really sad because the boss keeps getting screwed over, and like everyone's depressed and hates their jobs. So it's kind of got a little bit of the Office feel.
Mhm.
It's filmed in that shaky cam way where it's just like following everyone around.
Yeah.
At least I think, from what I remember. But it's really, really funny. Like the humor just pulls no punches. It's only 2 seasons, but it's like the perfect amount.
Good.
Yeah, for what it is. It's a nice short, good little show.
Yeah.
And my friends
Can I
suggested.
just throw it out there? I hate how American shows always have a ridiculous amount of seasons. Like, it just annoys me.
Yeah, people want the
Like,
stories to go
we-
on forever, but with pure comedy,
Yeah.
it's just short and sweet. And there's a little bit of a teased love story in there, but it does not like take over the whole show. And it's got like a little
Yeah.
bittersweet happy ending. It's really, really funny. So yeah,
Okay, that's cool.
that was Party
Might look
Down.
into it.
Good comedy. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about is the one game I played, a little short game. Like I said, I didn't have much time to game this month because of moving, but I got here
Yeah.
to Wisconsin, and Spiegel just shoved the Switch in my face and was like, play Little Inferno. And I'm like, okay, what is
I've
this?
seen someone play Little Inferno.
Yeah. Little Inferno reminded me of those games that I would play when I was in junior high on my Yahoo email page. You'd like go like
Yeah, I can kind
I'd
of
go
see
on
that.
Yahoo and I'd be
Yeah.
like, I could check my email because all my friends are talking to me because I don't have IM yet, and then I could play these games where I just like feed fish or I like make food in this little fake restaurant, or I play card games. And, like Little Inferno reminded me of that. That was me in junior high, by the way. That was what I did
Yeah.
all the time.
Okay.
But it was better. But I feel like it was kind of simulating that idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just would buy stuff and throw it in a fireplace, and every now and then the thing you would throw in would like scream, and it was horrifying. And there's
Because isn't it just like how fun react, like seeing how things react to being burned?
yes, and
Like,
it
isn't that the whole point of the game?
it
Yeah.
does start
It's been a while
out
since
that way, and because then you get money
Yeah.
for burning stuff, and then you buy more things, and then when you finish buying everything
Yeah.
from one catalog, the mailman sends you a new catalog, and then your neighbor sends you a letter, and they're like, "Oh, will you please send me a pair of sunglasses because blah, 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 and you're my neighbor, and I want to get to know you," and then you just burn her letter, and then she keeps sending you letters, and then she
Classic.
eventually by the end of the game she's like, "Oh, I love my little Inferno fireplace. Maybe I'll walk into it and die," and then she does, and she burns down. And then
Well done.
yeah. And then you keep getting
I feel like
letters
maybe
from the weatherman and saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, it keeps snowing outside, so keep burning stuff so that you keep warm." And you get letters from the lady who invented the Little Inferno, but then you just burn all the letters. And then you get
Classic.
new catalogs, and you burn all the stuff, and you have to get all the combos. So there's a whole list
Yeah.
of 99 combos that you have to get, like, and they have some of them have really silly names, like, you know, like email piracy, where you have to burn an email letter chain, and then you have to burn a pirate, and then He's like,
Yeah.
"Arr," and then he dies. And then you burn things, and then some of the combos are really, really hard. Like, they don't make any sense. And so I just have to burn, like, everything together just as guesswork in
Yeah.
order to get them. And then there's this one big combo you have to get at the end. You have to, like, pick 4 things out and burn them together. And then your house burns down, and then you're a little child walking around on the street, and you pass people who don't make any sense. And I think there's supposed to be some sort of odd dystopian story where,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really get it because the dialogue got a little bit boring, so I wasn't totally paying attention. And then you walk into this
Yeah.
building and you talk to the person who made your little inferno fireplace, and then the weatherman comes up and you get in his balloon and fly away, or you fall off the cliff trying to jump in there. It's sort of unclear about what really happens. And I think
Classic.
it probably would have been really neat if I had been paying attention, but I was so done at that point because I was so
Yeah.
tired of getting all the combos. And then I don't like reading RPG dialogue, so I skipped a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it was
You do
really
that.
fun. I loved burning
Mhm.
the school bus with all the children in it. And, there was like, you had to buy a juicer and then throw things in it and then burn the juice. And you could buy like ice cubes and then freeze things and then you figure out how to melt it. It was a really fun game. And figuring out all the combos was fun. It just got really difficult. I think I got about 75% of them before I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'm done. But yeah, that was a fun game.
Fair
It took me
enough.
like 2 days to play.
Fair enough.
So yeah, it was cute. And it was,
I would.
I guess it was the first
Yeah.
game I've played. Well, no, I played Snipper Clips a little bit. First game I
Yeah,
finished
I'm gonna get a snipper clip at some point.
on the Switch. So I enjoy using the Joy-Con. It's cool. It's a good little controller.
Yeah, I thought that the Joy-Cons would be horrendously small, but they're actually pretty comfortable to hold. Like I got used to them pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
I thought
Because
they would be way too
I-
small, and I thought it would hurt my wrist.
I am human trash, QJ, and I bought a Switch because I like wasting my money on products I don't need that aren't actually that good and that are trash. I stand against the Switch still, even though I own one. I still hate it. But it means that I can play Breath of the Wild, the greatest game of all time. Everyone loves it. It's the best. Why have you not played it yet? It's the best. It's amazing. Everyone knows this. It's so good. If you're listening to this show and you haven't
You
played
really
Breath of
wanted
the
to
Wild,
get a
go Breath-
segue into Breath of the Wild
Ah.
when I haven't had a chance to play
Yeah.
it yet.
Sorry, I'm just sitting here thinking, man, Little Inferno, maybe I'll buy it on Steam in a sale sometime. But also, Breath of the Wild, though, best game ever. God, it's so good. It's so good. It's like, I'm a little bit worried, though, that now you're going to play it and you're not going to enjoy it as much as you would because you've probably had everyone ever telling you it's the best game ever because it is. And I'm a little
Yes,
bit worried
but you
that that's
see,
going to
I'm
affect your
not-
opinion.
I'm not a giant grumpy pants like someone else on this podcast who gets all like, "Oh, everyone else loves this, so I'm gonna hate it." Like, I generally
No, I'm not like...
I generally want to
Oh.
agree with people. So,
I'm not like that, but I get the feeling that like no, because with me, it's not like I don't want to like things other people like. But it's more like people tend to express their opinions in an overly positive way. Like I don't think Breath of the Wild is actually 100% objectively the best game ever, but I will say that it is because of how much I love it, right?
Yeah.
And I would
Spiegel has
argue
put it
that
on
maybe
his number
yeah.
2 on his top 100 games.
Whew, that's impressive.
Yeah.
But then again, yeah, it is that good, and he has some really
And I
bad
believe
games
it.
on it.
And
Wait, isn't Metroid Prime still his number 1?
Yes.
So like that's stupid. Wrong.
I thought Majora's Mask would be,
Wrong.
honestly. It's probably the third.
I mean, Breath of the Wild is better than Majora's Mask, and Breath of the Wild is also better than Metroid Prime because Metroid Prime isn't actually that good of a game. Sorry, guys. Bye.
But yeah, I don't
No, it's just.
I'm not going to
Oh,
like
it's so good.
I'm not going to like dislike Breath of the Wild on purpose because people are overhyping it. I'm only annoyed that like
Yeah.
everyone around me is like, "You should play it. You should play it." And I'm like, I will. I don't have time right now. Leave me alone. I'm going to play it when I have time.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's so beautiful. It's like every game I love, right? They've taken elements from them and then they've added polish because it's like
Ooh.
it's got the freedom of exploration of something like Skyrim, but Skyrim is buggy and looks pretty terrible visually. So it's like playing that, but with like it's good.
Yeah.
Like it looks good and it's polished well and it isn't full of bugs. It's like Shadow of the Colossus, but it's new and it's shiny and it's beautiful. It's like a Ubisoft game, but it's Zelda game, so it doesn't have all the horrible things that come with being a Ubisoft game. It's like it's so good. It just takes elements of games that I love and puts them into one beautiful package, and it makes me so happy.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it's so beautiful. I love it.
I'm excited to play
I
it.
love it. I just needed to vent for a second there because,
Okay.
like,
That's perfectly
you know.
okay. Um, I missed a comic book. I read another comic book this month
Yes.
that is now going to be out of the comic book section. Have I ever talked about
How dare
the
you?
Olympians series? Did I talk about that at all last year? I might have because
No,
maybe you
but
weren't
I've
looking
heard
it up.
of it.
Um,
I've heard of it though.
it's
I think I've
by
seen it
I
on
think the
Amazon.
author's name is George O'Connor. I can't remember if he's also
Hmm.
the artist, but he writes comic books based on all the Olympians of Greek mythology, and they are freaking fantastic. They're so well written, so well drawn, so beautiful. And see, I've always loved Greek mythology ever since I was a little kid, and
Okay.
there's hundreds of ways to tell one person's story, and there is no original. Everyone's like, oh, in the real story, this happened because all of these stories were told orally, before there was
Yes.
ever books or ever before anyone ever writ anything down. People told these stories like,
Yeah.
in their homes over their fires, over meals. And then they
Hmm.
started being written down and they started being changed. And there's no original author. So there's no like source material really except history. Um,
Yeah.
so I think this is like maybe like the 10th one that came out. He's done all the Olympians, so all the like original gods that live up on Mount Olympus. And the one that came out in
Yeah.
January was Artemis, goddess of the hunt. And
Hmm.
I love her. She's so awesome. She's so like tough and like she doesn't let any man have her, and she just runs off and wants to run around in the forest and take care of animals. But she's also kind of a brat because anytime someone's mean to her, she's like, "I'm gonna shoot you," and and I can't remember every story arc that went through it, but in general, this is a really really well made series because he'll take like one main character like Zeus or Hera or Aphrodite or um, Hades was my favorite one actually so far.
Yeah.
And he'll talk about them and he'll talk about their origins and the things they did and like their most famous stories. And George O'Connor will put his own little twists on them. Like when they talk about Hades' wife, Persephone, instead of just being like this chick that he kidnapped and forced to
Yeah.
become, his queen, he kind of gives her a voice where she's like, maybe you should have
Hmm.
asked me if I wanted to live with you before you kidnapped me. Maybe I want to spend some time with my mom. Maybe, like, you guys should treat me like an adult instead of forcing. Blah, blah, blah. Like, he gives people
Yeah.
personalities that have never had personalities before, and sort of sometimes puts a little modern twist on everyone's story. Like he makes Hera seem much more like a woman than just like this evil crazy lady who is a jealous wife. Like
Hmm.
these characters have a lot of heart now. And
That's
so
pretty
yeah,
cool.
these are really well told Greek mythology stories. The one I read in January was Artemis, and it made me want to dress up like her and run around in the forest because she's awesome. And I think there should be one or two more coming out, but I haven't seen a pre-order for one
Neat.
yet, so sad face. So yeah,
Aw.
that was the third comic book I read, and I didn't finish Clash of Kings, and I'm in the middle of reading Horimiya, my favorite manga so far. I watched Party Down, and I played Little Inferno. And that is what I've done
Yep.
around February. And then I moved
You know what
across
you
the
didn't
country,
do?
and I drove for like 3 days. And my cats didn't like it. And they were meowing.
Aw. But you also didn't watch the greatest anime of all time. How dare you? How dare you, Keisha?
Spirited Away?
It was no, it was requested by a commenter and by Josh, and you haven't watched it. How very dare you? Everyone leave a comment
I'm
saying
sorry.
"Keisha
I'm sorry,
needs-
commenters. I'm not as good as Kat doing
QJ
things on
needs to go and watch
time.
Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, the greatest anime of all time."
Please don't like refrain from leaving me comments and suggestions just because I haven't been very good at following them. I promise I'll do better.
Yeah, you better.
I'm living in a new
If
state
next
now.
month, also,
I'll turn over
I'm
a
pretty
new
sure
leaf.
this. I'm pretty sure the first season's about to end, so you better have watched it by next month. So, because it's adorable and it's
Okey-dokey.
hilarious and it's the best thing ever. So you better watch it. I'll be mad if you haven't. If next month I don't get to talk to you about Dragon Maid, I'm gonna be a little bit upset, QJ.
Okay.
I will feel betrayed as a friend.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And I won't
As
actually
we
be
have-
that mad. I'll be a bit annoyed. But
As
like, come
our
on.
viewers have probably figured out at this point, like reading and gaming and watching anime is normally everybody's downtime. And as much as I love doing those things, I just have a problem where I'm bad at doing things Even things that I love. Like I said, I'll sit down and try and read a book, and then I'm like, oh, shouldn't I be doing laundry or something? Like my brain hates me. It doesn't let me sit and enjoy things. It's like, I don't know if it's a type of anxiety or what, but whenever I sit down to try and relax and do something, it's like, oh, I'm wasting my time, and my brain doesn't allow me to have any fun.
Now, I can kind of see that because with movies, I find it really difficult to watch a movie at home. Like, I'm sitting there like, I should, but like, I'll watch this now. But then it's like I'm committing to like 2 hours of like, I have almost like ADHD, but not ADHD. I'm not going to misdiagnose myself. I don't have ADHD, but it's sort of similar in the sense of like, I don't want to sit down and be like, I'm going to watch this movie for 2 hours, especially at home, because I know I'm going to click off of the file and end up just checking YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a genuine struggle. It's why I love going to the cinema so much, because the cinema is just like a pure, uninterrupted, like, stream of film.
And you're out of the
so
house and you feel like you're almost
it.
running an errand. So it's productive.
Yeah, it just feels like an event, like I'm doing something, so it's like, it's easier to not get distracted.
It forces you to focus.
Yeah.
And then if
whereas
you...
at home, like...
Yeah, and...
It's just, I end up checking Tumblr, and it's lame.
And because we've started, like, talking about the things we've done on, the show, like, I like to have notes taken and stuff, and it's hard to make myself do that when I'm sitting at home. Whereas, strangely enough, when I'm in the movie theater, I'll whip out my notebook and start writing things in the dark, and then the lights come on, and I'm like, oh, it's scribbles. I have not followed the lines.
I don't know if I could do that. Like, that, I wouldn't be able to focus.
I just sometimes have so many thoughts going through my head that I can't. Like, I'm like, I want to talk about this later, so I have to write it down.
Fair enough. I think
so that's fun.
I don't think I've got anything else to mention. Next month I'm gonna try. Next time we record this, I hopefully will have played Snipper Clips, so we can have a chat about that.
Yay, fun!
But I'm waiting for my carry case to arrive for my Switch because I don't want to take it anywhere because it will break because it's a trash piece of hardware.
A little Switch purse. That's what I call. Yeah. I call Spiegel's Switch a little purse. And he's like, it's not a purse, it's a bag. I'm like, that's what a purse is.
Well, yeah. So I'll talk to you soon. Then we'll see you later. Leave us suggestions.
Okay.
But don't give me movie suggestions in these comments because I'll ignore it. Leave it in my comment section.
Nice.
I don't listen. QJ's comments are nothing to me. I ignore them.
Have a good month, everybody.
Yeah, have a good month. Laters.
Bye.
Bye.